Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, man shot in attempted robbery of his car in Portmore. A man has been hospitalized after being shot during an attempted robbery of his car in Nagahead, Portmore, St. Catherine, early Wednesday morning. It is reported that about 2:10, the 53-year-old construction worker was on Cassinor Lane when he was pounced upon by two hoodlums who attempted to rob him. He was shot and injured in the process. The injured man was assisted to the Spanish Town Hospital for treatment. An investigation is being undertaken by the Portmore police. Security guard charged in car theft incident. Police have charged the 27-year-old security guard, Akeem Lawson, otherwise called Fire Biggs, alleging that he was among a group of persons who stole a motor car from a man with whom they were purportedly meeting to purchase the vehicle. The Red Hills Road Kingston 10 resident is charged with larceny of motor vehicle and the conspiracy to commit larceny of motor vehicle. The charges stem from an incident that occurred on Conton Spring Road, Kingston 10 on March 11. The police say about 2:30 p.m., a man parked his red 2019 Honda Civic motor car at a location on Conton Spring Road with the intent of selling the vehicle to Lawson and his alleged accomplices. During the transaction, Lawson and his alleged accomplices reportedly all entered the vehicle and drove away with it without the owner's consent or the agreed upon payment made. A report was made to the police and an investigation commenced. Between 4 a.m. and 3 p.m. on March 12, a team of officers carried out an operation in the St. Thomas Police Division, which resulted in the apprehension of the accused and his accomplices and the recovery of the motor vehicle. The suspects were taken into custody. On Tuesday, a question and answer session was conducted with Lawson in the presence of his attorney, after which he was charged. OCA probing Jesse Paul case. The Office of the Children's Advocate has confirmed that for the last 2 weeks, it has been investigating the alleged sexual assault of a student of Jesse Paul Primary School in St. Andrew. The incident occurred on March 11 and was made public on Monday. The OCA says it continues to probe the matter to find an appropriate solution. The Child Protection and the Family Services Agency says it will also continue its investigations and will be doing home visits as well as community assessments for both children.
What I can say is that we have been in touch with certainly the complainant and the complainant's mother, as well as school officials and other individuals whom we think are useful and certainly helpful to our probe. We continue to approach the matter with diligence. Of course, it's a matter that is on everybody's radar, including, suitably so, the Ministry of Education. And we continue to work with all the parties for the best outcome. But rest assured, the Office of the Children's Advocate has been involved and will continue to treat with this matter with dispatch.
PNP denies accusation of partisanship on healthcare issues. Despite the criticisms from the government, the People's National Party is firm on its diagnosis that the public healthcare system is in a state of emergency. On Wednesday, General Secretary of the PNP, Dr. Dayton Campbell, questioned the leadership of Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton in overseeing the management of health facilities, in particular the Kingston Public Hospital. In that regard, he strongly denied allegations that the PNP is playing politics. Last month, Dr. Tufton said that the authorities are working to remove mold from the operating theaters at the KPH in a bid to have them reopened. Dr. Tufton revealed that the malfunction in air conditioning system, which forced the closure of our 4 operating theaters, have been fixed, but that their return to service will have to await the removal of the mold.
How can the government stay silent when Jamaica's largest public hospital is literally falling apart? The People's National Party is calling for immediate action, full remediation of all affected areas, a national hospital audit, and a proper plan to protect the people who protect us, our doctors, nurses, and also the patients. We also demand answers. Who knew and why was nothing done? This is about lives, and the time for excuses is over. We stand with Dr. Alfred Dawes in demanding accountability and urgent action.
No veto power to opposition over selection of president should Jamaica become a republic, says the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Minister. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou Ford declared on Wednesday that the parliamentary opposition will not be granted veto power to block the appointment of the president of the proposed republic under the constitutional reform process. Opposition leader Mark Golding has raised concerns about the provisions within the legislation which will give the Prime Minister ultimate power to recommend who should hold the post of President of the Republic. He argued that the Prime Minister could select and recommend someone who is not qualified for such a high office even after consultations. But Marlene Malahou Ford, speaking at Wednesday's sitting of the Joint Select Committee on the Constitution Amendment Republic Act, made it clear that the Prime Minister will have the final say on who should be president after consulting with the leader of the opposition. The opposition has withdrawn its participation in the hearings of the Joint Select Committee, having stepped away from its deliberations more than 2 months ago as the two sides clashed over whether Jamaica will adopt the Caribbean Court of Justice as the country's final appellate court under the current constitutional reform process.
The confirmation decision proposed is also by absolute majority. Those who have raised issue with that are saying that it means the government of the day will have its way. That is not a bad thing, because the democracy is about a majority rule and it avoids gridlock. The intention is not to give a veto to the opposition in this matter, which is what the requirement for anything other than an absolute majority would do. It's not the intention because of the nature of the non-executive president. I know it's a struggle that will continue, especially for those who believe that we should move to the executive presidential system.
UDC closes access to beach at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. The Urban Development Corporation has temporarily closed the beach at Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay as it works to address a water quality issue. The UDC, in a statement on Wednesday, explained that during a recent safety assessment, it identified an external issue affecting water quality in the beach area. As a result, the government agency has moved to restrict access to the beach in the interest of public health and safety. The UDC says the temporary closure is a precautionary measure, adding that its teams are working to resolve the matter as quickly as possible. The rest of the park remains open to the public. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.